So we absolutely have to go ahead and touch on Tesla stock and kind of have that conversation of where things are likely to be heading and why there's been a bit of a disappointment in regards to Tesla stock in the last few trading sessions. Now, for those who don't follow the channel, just a couple days ago, I made this video talking about why I believe that in the next few trading sessions, Tesla's going to have some bullish activity. And this was 2 days ago. Now, indeed, we did have some green candles, right? If we kind of parse through from a closer time frame, we do see that Tesla has pushed up since I made that video, but it's been a bit disappointing considering that the broader markets have pushed up significantly much higher than Tesla has in the last few trading sessions. Now, part of the reason I shared that I believe that Tesla was going to go ahead and push upwards, which, by the way, if we kind of take a look at the market, it's absolutely going crazy. It just hit new all-time highs, which is something I shared was going to happen within the Push and Profit private group, which is the first link in the description below. But why are we not seeing Tesla push up? Well, here's a couple things. First of all, let's talk about why I believe the market was going to push up, and then we'll go ahead and have the conversation on why Tesla's kind of lagging behind. Now, in that previous video, I shared how we were going to have the Bank of Canada update their monetary policy and that they were likely to cut rates, and in fact, they did. They ended up cutting rates for the first time. They're one of the first central banks in the G7 to go ahead and cut rates. Now, the reason this is significant, I know people are saying, oh, well, we're in the United States. Who cares about Canada? And, right, I don't want to be disrespectful to my fellow Canadians, but the reason why we absolutely want to be mindful of what Canada does is because in the last hiking season, Canada was the first central bank to start hiking rates. And then soon all the other central banks started hiking. So being that Canada is now the first to start cutting, well, this is positive news that we're finally going to go into a, quantitative easing cycle. And so this is great. And I said that if they cut, that's going to be positive. And the day after, we were going to have the European Central Bank update their monetary policies. And if Canada cut rates, likely the European Central Bank was going to cut rates, and that's exactly what we got just the day after, right? This was June 6th, just yesterday. We had the ECB cut rates since 2019. It's the first time they've cut rates. And so, again, this has been pretty bullish for the market. We're seeing the market push upwards, and this is great. However, for Tesla, it's been such a minuscule move up. Now, we'll go ahead and touch on that in a moment, but one of the reasons why I believe Tesla stock is kind of stuck, and of course, we talked about it from a technical perspective, that Tesla has a lot of volume relative to price, meaning there's this exchange between the buyers and sellers, so it's just consolidating over here. And for Tesla to have a big move, it has to either fall below this shelf or break above this shelf, right? And so we actually have a big move. Now, I believe that the reason Tesla isn't having a significant move is simply because of what I shared before on the channel multiple times. We talked about how, we're having this vote on June 13th, and the biggest thing that is in that vote on June 13th for Tesla is Elon Musk's compensation package. Now, I'm honestly tired of sharing this, but it definitely is something that's going to have a huge impact. In fact, recently, Cathie Wood, which we know, in the channel, I'm not such a big fan of Cathie Wood. She's not really been the best. She got Tesla right one time, but nonetheless, a lot of people look up to what Cathie Wood says, and she mentioned that, if we don't have this pay package, well, this could have a huge negative impact to shareholders, right? Because the whole idea is, well, if Elon doesn't get his pay package, his compensation, well, he may go ahead and spin off some of the AI and robotic segments to, from Tesla to other companies like XAI and X, which is formerly known as Twitter, and maybe he'll start another company as well for robotics. And so he's kind of, and I don't want to use the word, but like threatening and blackmailing people to, or investors to go ahead and vote for him. And of course, we've seen the Tesla board really advocate for this. They're even spending money on advertising to go ahead and influence people to vote. And that's just because it's so important that people vote for this. But there's a real concern that if Elon Musk does not get this vote, well, then there's no point in still being a, holder of Tesla. And so that's why, although the market is making new highs, although we're seeing technology, the technology sector, let's go ahead and look at XLK. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Although that's doing well, and we're seeing other names in the Magnificent Seven, for example, Nvidia, just continue to dominate. They recently just had a little bit of a dip, but they just recently, just the day prior, had a huge move up, making new highs. We're seeing everyone else push up, but Tesla isn't doing much, and I believe it's because market participants are worried that perhaps on June 13th, we may not get that vote for Elon Musk's compensation package. And then from there, there's a lot of uncertainty on what happens next. And so a lot of individuals are scared to put capital in. And I'm alongside with them. I'm not going to go ahead and add more shares into Tesla until we have the positive news or until we break out. I have this alert over here out of this shelf where there's a lot of volume relative to price. And I know I've been getting a lot of hate on YouTube, especially because I'm a channel that I've covered a lot of Tesla on this channel. And back in December 28th, I made a video saying Tesla was overvalued. People hated on me for this, said it was overvalued for multiple reasons. Ended up falling down. People were upset that I wasn't buying. I was like, look, I'm buying everything else that's rallying up. I'm not buying Tesla at any of these levels. People thought I was crazy for not buying all these dips. And the area that I did end up buying a little bit more into my position with Tesla was on April 13th. I made a video after their earnings where I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and buy some more. And not saying that, I'm a market wizard and I have a crystal ball. Of course I don't. But I don't just like to buy any single dip because the dip could always get dippier. And so I like to wait for confirmation. This earnings that we had, there were some positives in it. And so there was this confirmation that we bottomed over here at 138 and I added more to my long-term position. I'm still bullish on Tesla. I just been skeptical on buying. And even right now, just like everyone else, I'm not really interested in putting any capital in until we hear the vote or the results of June 13th, because of course I can't gamble and say, well, yeah, Elon Musk is likely to get this, because if he doesn't, well, what could we don't know what could happen. I mean, even Cathie Wood is worried about this, right? Because her largest position is Tesla. So, of course, she's going to be worried that if Elon Musk doesn't get this compensation package and, this could be really negative. So, if it is going to be negative, well, we don't want to just buy right now. That's what the market's telling that's what the price action's telling you. No one really wants to buy heavily at this current price action. We want to wait for the results. And this is a shame, especially because we're having a lot of positives take place within the economy. We're seeing a lot of things kind of lead to the idea that we're going to get rate cuts from the Federal Reserve within the next few months, towards the end of 2024. We're also seeing positives like this. We saw Sawyer Merritt, someone who's big in the Tesla community, introducing how we're seeing, Cybertruck patrol vehicles being made that are going to be available for public safety officials. Imagine just getting pulled over by the police and something that is as fast as a Cybertruck. I mean, this would be a great, thing for Tesla if we had a lot of just, different, and I'm trying to think of the proper words over here, but let's just make it very simple. A lot of police officers and police stations purchasing an abundance of orders for the Cybertrucks and then using them in their fleet. I mean, that would be absolutely very positive, right? Of course, we're also getting other positive news just in the EV space alone on how we're seeing a lot of, and this is not just, just related to Tesla. This is also related to all the other manufacturers. But we're seeing how other manufacturers are able to produce 300-mile range EVs for the first time for a lower price now. We're starting to see them than the average car price. And so this is absolutely great news for the EV space in general. And we know that Tesla has a large market share in the EV space. And so the EV space doing well is great for Tesla, especially because we know that pretty much all the auto manufacturers, I did a bingo card like a year ago, they all ended up adopting the Tesla supercharging network. And so EVs winning is kind of like a win for Tesla, as everyone's going to have to charge on the Tesla station, right? And so that's positive for the other services revenue that Tesla makes, right? When you look at their operations or statements of operations, we see service revenues holding up. And so this is great. This is good news. If EVs are cheaper, this is great for Tesla. But although we're having a lot of positive news, we're seeing everything rally up, right now we're just not seeing anything take place for Tesla simply because of that date. Now, I know I'm tired of sharing it, but it is something that's very, important to be mindful of, especially if Cathie Wood is saying, hey, this could be a disaster or it could be something positive. But with that said, I just wanted to make a quick update on Tesla stock for any of those guys who are interested. If you guys hold it in your long-term portfolio or are looking to trade it, again, if before you guys go, make sure to check out this next video right over here where I talk about utilizing line charts and how they have a great way of helping us identify trends when we're looking at things from a technical perspective. But with that said, I hope to see you guys on that next video, and take care.